Welcome to the High Performance Interviews. Today I'm joined by Xue Bravo, all the way from LA in America. Hi, Sue.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on.
You're most welcome. Well, before we hear your story, Sue, what I'd love to do is just do a quick introduction for our audience. And Sue is a mum of four. She does homeschooling. She is a life and business coach. And her expertise is to help her clients to start a business, to get their first or their next client, but all without sacrificing values or family. So that is fantastic, Sue. So I would love to ask you to share your story from before becoming an entrepreneur and your transition into being that.
Amazing, thank you so much. I would say my entrepreneurship journey really started when I became a stay-at-home mom. I never imagined or saw myself as a stay-at-home mom, but a few years into just my motherhood journey, I just had this, I don't know, fire inside, and I just knew that I wanted to have a business, kind of pursue that side. It was really just like a passion of mine. And so I started off with a gift box business. I had that for about a year, but it quickly was like a complete failure. And I realized I was lacking some kind of skills I didn't really know. And I figured it was like the marketing piece. And so I kind of dove into marketing for a few years. And I finally launched my next business, which was a grazing table business, and essentially it's selling like meat and cheese platters of meat and cheese. I eventually went into doing like full table scale sized as well, and so that blew up really quickly because of the marketing piece, because of the social media piece. And right before the pandemic, well, actually, like during the pandemic, I ended up having to close down that business because it was catering, it was food. So I took a couple months break from just like entrepreneurship and business. And during that time, I actually just had a lot of demand. A lot of my mom friends, I was on the board for a nonprofit mom organization, and a lot of them were just reaching out to me, asking me how they can show up on social media, how they can start their own business. And so there was just this demand for helping moms start, build, and grow their own business, leveraging social media. So that's actually how I got into coaching what I do now. And so I started off coaching moms, social media only. Then I kind of pivoted more towards life and business coaching, just really understanding that I really want my clients to have one, a profitable business, but also a thriving life. I just noticed this recurring theme where it was really one or the other. They had this amazing life, but then they could never pursue this entrepreneurship side because they didn't want to sacrifice their family. Or they had this really profitable business, but then they realized they were sacrificing their family. And so that's where we are now. I help clients as a life and business coach have both a profitable business and a thriving family or personal life.
I love that. That is fantastic. It's so great to find that connection, isn't it?
Mhm.
And so, one thing that jumped out at me there, you said, I tried this for a year and it failed. So, for people listening in that are afraid of failing at doing something, just a quick bit of advice, what would you give there about starting something that they've got in their minds to do, but that fear of failure?
Yeah, I would say that it doesn't matter if it's a business or a hobby or a career. It doesn't matter any goal that you're trying to reach. You have to understand that failure is an inevitable piece of creating that goal. And so when you understand that failure is not something to try to avoid, but that failure is something that you're actually striving for, because every time you fail, you're getting one step closer, you're learning lessons. And even before I have arrived at what I would say is like my forever business. Like I just know I'm doing life and business coaching forever. I've had to go through a lot of businesses. It was like my gift box business. Like I kind of just skimmed over, but it was that. And then it was, I did the grazing tables. And then during the pandemic, I actually did like a network marketing selling jewelry. It was just for fun to have parties. And then I did social media coaching, and then I did life and business coaching. So if you really think about it, it was five different stages of different things that I was just dabbling in and trying out to get to my final business like concept that I'm like, cool, this is the one forever. And so 100%, I would just say start shifting your mindset to not avoid fear, but understand that it is actually like an essential piece of creating success, again, no matter what your goals are.
Yeah, so go for the failures and fail forwards. As I'm sure there was a
Yes.
writer that's got a book called Failing Forwards. Like that's great advice. And so you're separating your work time and your family time. So what protocols do you personally have in place for doing that, Sue?
I would say it all comes down to first priorities and then scheduling and then that mindset shift. And so when I talk about priorities, just going back to like, hey, what are your goals personally? And then what are your family goals as well? That way you can start listing your priorities from there. Oftentimes people kind of separate those two, like here are my life goals and here are my business goals. But really your life and business, they go hand in hand. Whatever's happening in your business is going to come into your life. Whatever's happening in your life is going to come into your business. And so I would start again taking a look at, cool, I might say I want to make $200,000 this year, but in order to get to $200,000, is that going to compromise my family time? Is that going to compromise my self-care time, right? And so taking a look at your goals, make sure that they align with your professional and personal goals coming together. So take a look at your priorities. And that way, when you go into schedule your calendar, you always schedule in your personal priorities first and then your professional priorities, so your business activities. And then from there, you're able to, again, separate and say you don't feel guilty when you're in your business, working on your business because you're away from your family, because you know, hey, this is only for a specific amount of time. And then I'm going right back to my family. And vice versa. When you're in with your family, you're hanging out with them, your brain is not like, oh my gosh, I should be working on my business. I should be working on my business. You're like, hey, tomorrow from 9 to 5, I'm going to be working on my business. And so just being able to prioritize and schedule, and then also do that mindset shift so that you can detach from work when you're not there, and then detach from feeling like you have to cater to your family when you're not in that space.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic advice, because I think people do find that very hard, separating, but not separating the goals, which I love that you're integrating the goals so that they're together and they work together, but being able to, once you've got that time, separate the time. And so you're just focused in one area. Wonderful. Love that. And so what things do you have in place to keep you on track with your business, Sue? Anything specific?
So I have one wall calendar for our family so that everybody can kind of see what's happening. And that's just like the main things. I have a paper planner for myself that has a monthly and then a weekly calendar system. I know a lot of people love using technology. The reason why I kind of stepped away from just using my phone was because I would rush into a lot of yeses, right? Just because my calendar was open. For example, if I was hanging out with a friend and they're like, hey, can you go hang out on Saturday at 6 o'clock? I would look at my calendar on my phone and be like, yeah, I'm available. And then I would just schedule in and right away. But when I went home, I would look at it and be like, well, you know what? Friday night we're doing something, and then Saturday morning we're doing something, and then Sunday we're going to church. And so I could my calendar is open, but also, do I really want to do that? Because we're going to be so full that weekend, you know? And so just switching to a paper calendar gave me the opportunity to say, I would love to, let me check my calendar. It would give me a day or two to kind of evaluate like the mental and emotional capacity for it. Just because my calendar was open, it didn't mean that, my mental emotional capacity was available for that. So that's why I switched to that. But again, the main wall calendar is where I would put in our trips or my coaching calls or my business hours, any family activities that we're doing. And then in my monthly calendar, that's where I would have that. And then my weekly calendar would have like in detail of like, for example, if today I'm working from 9 to 12 on my main calendar, I would probably just put like mom working from 9 to 12. And then in my weekly calendar today, I would put like Zoom call and then consultation and then content creation or something like that. So those are kind of my two things. But for me personally, it's a physical planner.
Mm. Oh, yes. I love physical planners. I have to say, I do use the online stuff as well, but that's more for people that are booking in with me so that they can see it, right? So that is wonderful as well, because you can see the whole spread. Like you're saying, it's not just one part of your day, it's what's come before and what's going to go after. Do you actually want to do that? And it's your time, and you need that, right? So what do you do, Sue, for that self time? What are the things that you have in place for Sue?
I would say a lot of like just silence and solitude, a lot of praying, reading books. I feel like I used to do a lot of like listening to podcasts and stuff, but I just found that was actually like work essentially, right? Because I'm like trying to learn more stuff. But I just found that sometimes our brains really just need quiet space to not even to think, but just to not think, you know,
Yep.
because our
Yep.
brains are always going a million miles per hour. So I would say those are like my core things, and more specifically, like getting outside to not think, maybe like going to the beach. It's kind of cold right now, but it's starting to get more spring and summer. So I'll probably be doing a lot of like beach walks. But really, I just like to journal, read, sit in silence, or like get outdoors.
Perfect. Perfect. Because that is your recovery time, isn't it?
Mhm.
When, especially when you're working with people and you're talking and you're overcoming
Mhm.
challenges with them and you are using your brain so much to work things out and how they need to be spoken to and all of those kind of things as a coach. So fantastic. Okay. So if somebody was wanting to work with you, what would you say, or who would you say your ideal client is, Sue?
I would say for the business side, for anybody who is like new, aspiring, or struggling entrepreneurs, I would say that's usually my ideal client. And then also somebody who is probably already making some money, but they want to make more consistently. I feel like for the business side, those are my two ideal clients. As far as life coaching goes, honestly, what I tell people is when you come work with me, I just help you reach the goals that you've been wanting to reach or have been trying to reach, but just haven't been able to do on your own yet. Because so much of reaching our goals is all mindset. And a lot of people don't have the mindset skills because they've just never been exposed to that. And so that's what I would say is my life coaching ideal client.
Perfect. And then take us on a journey from when you started your coaching. You said you started that in COVID because people were coming to you, which was fantastic. Is that because they knew what you did before? Is it because you were sending out lots of emails? What was that? Because again, somebody who's just getting started in a business is thinking, how do I get started if I don't have a list, or if I don't know people, or if I'm doing something completely different? Talk to us about that, Sue.
Yeah, I would say the number one thing to do if you're just starting out a business is just get visible, right? And so before I even got into the coaching, I was already getting visible with my other business. And so the moms just saw me, okay, cool. Sue's posting about her business. She has a business. She has a business. So during the pandemic, they're like, hey, I know Sue. She has a business and she's on social media. Let me ask her if she can just teach me not to do a grazing table, but I want to start my own business. Can she teach me the skills she already knows? And so again, it doesn't matter if you're doing coaching or tables, as long as you're getting visible. So like what I teach my clients, like in order to make money in your business, you only need to be ever doing three things. You don't need a website, you don't need an email, you just need three things. One, to get visible, because if people can't see that you have a business, then you can't provide value and make offers. So that's all you're doing. Getting visible, providing value, and making offers. And when you're getting visible, I think people oftentimes think about like just social media, right? Or just Instagram or just Facebook. And visibility essentially just means, again, letting people know that you have a business. And so you could be doing one on one coffee chats. You could be going to online networking events. You can be going to in person networking events. You can even go to like a mom play date, right? And just be genuinely like, hey, what do you do? What are your hobbies? Oh, cool. My hobbies are my XYZ business. And so, really, visibility, there are so many creative ways to get visible, but that's 100% the core piece. What I always share with people is it doesn't matter if you are a solo entrepreneur like myself or a billion-dollar corporation like McDonald's. McDonald's is still advertising today, all day, every day, everywhere, online, with billboards, everywhere. And so if you think about a billion-dollar corporation that has been around for hundreds of years and they are still marketing, what does that mean for us, right? We should probably be marketing and getting visible. And that second piece of the value is people also kind of make it complicated of like, well, what kind of value do I provide? What if I don't provide enough value? But value essentially in the simplest form, what I teach my clients is answering the question of why does somebody want what you have to offer? Right. So why does somebody want to start a business? Why does somebody want to change their life? Why does somebody want life coaching? Why does somebody want financial advice? Right. Why do they want what you have to offer? Don't think about surface level. It's not about starting their business. It's not about making more money. It is about the benefits of starting their business. It's the benefits of making money. It's the benefits of pursuing their passion, right? Like they don't have to go into a 9 to 5 that they hate. They get to finally leave the corporate world and pursue a passion. They get to travel the world, right? And so all of these other things, the value of what you're offering them is having on their life. And that third piece, like once they understand the value of what you have to offer in their life, when you make an offer, which is essentially just inviting people in to work with you or to buy your stuff, they're more willing to say yes because they already understand the value of what you have to offer.
Great. So the words that you're using make it sound less scary to people. So it's not an offer, it's an invitation. And when you say marketing, that can be like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to market myself, but it's just being visible. It's just
Yes.
allowing people to know what you're doing, because otherwise we're sitting there thinking everybody knows what we're doing, but of course they don't, because we haven't made ourselves visible. So those, I think using those words will really help people to go, oh, it's just by getting visible and being seen, right? Fantastic. Okay, so share with us what you would love the audience now to do if they think, I would really like to work with Sue and connect with Sue. What would their next step be, Sue?
I would say the next best step is to reach out to me on Instagram. That way I can kind of guide you towards what programs or offers, maybe one-on-one coaching. So I would say the next best step is to reach out to me on Instagram.
Great. And we'll put all of the Sue's details in the description box below. So if you want to do that, just go down into the description box. Anything else you would like to leave our listeners with, Sue, that are thinking, oh, maybe a business, that would be a good idea?
Yeah, I would say to that question, I would say the biggest thing is to just focus on what I call the 3 Ps, which is what are you passionate about? What are you proficient at? And then lastly, what do you actually want to make money doing? When we think about profitability, I think oftentimes people are, what can I make money doing? But I really believe as a business coach that you can make money doing literally anything, but do you want to make money doing that? Right? A lot of times I find a lot of my clients, like, they're like, I'm just going to be a virtual assistant because I have skills in that. But do you actually want to be a virtual assistant though? Or are you into design? Do you want to do graphic designing? Do you want to do copywriting? I actually had a client who came to me to be a virtual assistant, and then halfway through we found out that she actually loves copywriting more, and she was able to get a bunch of consultations right after because she was so passionate about that. So if you're looking to start, if you're new, aspiring, or even if like you're struggling in your business, I would go back and evaluate, like, what are you passionate about? What are you proficient at? And what do you actually want to make money doing? And lastly, like, just do it. Just go for it. Fail. Like I said, I had like 5 different businesses until I got to my final one. So I would say do it, try it. The faster you fail forward, the faster you can get to those big ideas, those big dreams, those big goals that you can actually reach for your dream life.
Absolutely perfect. And with that, I would say definitely reach out to Sue if you're thinking of starting a business. Understand that your passion will lead you towards the business that you want to do, and Sue will definitely guide you with that and help you every single step of the way, because Sue is passionate about what she does. And so there will be another video coming up on screen, so do hop over there and I'll see you over there. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much, Sue, for joining us today. It's been absolutely awesome. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.